Let's go ahead and get started again. Hold up, man. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Life of a Champ podcast. KJ, I appreciate you for letting me know, man. For today's episode 177, we're going to be discussing the fact that we've been lied to, right? So this is going to be a topic that is going to stray a little bit different from the type of podcast that I've been making recently. It's going to be a little bit more. It's still, in my opinion, self improvement based because the self improvement, to me personally, is going to be the seeker of the truth, right? I am a seeker of the truth and an exposer of lies, and I will continue to go ahead and not only observe society for what it is, but also point out the little lies that they've been telling you all along. So that is what I'm here to do today. So, a few things I want to say before I go to get started. Make sure you go ahead and follow me on Rumble, Twitch, and TikTok, all at Life of a Champ podcast on every platform. As well as if you're watching on YouTube or if you're on Twitch, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to me on YouTube and also leave a like. So for today's episode, like I said, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be slightly different, but I do believe that it is still self-improvement based. It be true because true self-improvement is seeking of the truth, in my opinion, right? And yeah, that's how we're going to go to get started, man. So a few things I want to say. Actually, one more thing I want to say before I go to get started, right? All of this is entertainment. This is just for entertainment purposes. None of what I'm saying, none of what I'm saying on today's episode is true. All I would want you to do, don't believe me for what I have to say. Do your own research. That's what I have to say. All right, let's go ahead and get it started, man. So you've been lied to. We've been lied to. This is something that the more and more I observe society, and the more I seek the truth, and the more I improve myself, the more I get to see the little faults within society, right? The cracks within the matrix, right? I get to see the different ways, directly and indirectly, about the variety of things that truly have been told to us and are part of our social programming that are truly lies. And like I said, today I'm going to expose some of them, and I want to try to give you guys some insight of some of the things I've been researching as of recently, some of the things that I've been researching as for years now. But yeah, let's go ahead and get it started, man. So essentially what I'm going to say is this, right? Society, and I said this on many podcasts, and I might have said this damn near on every podcast, right? We must stop listening to those who don't have our best interests in mind and only listen to those who are the seeker of the truth and exposer of lies, right? So I'm going to point out many different ways that society has lied to you on today's episode. They've lied to you for many different reasons, and I'll go ahead and go over those eventually. But I want you to truly recognize whether what you're being told to you through any media consumption that you'd go ahead and do is the truth, or is it a lie? Is there something that you've learned previously through your years and years of hopeful wisdom that have been able to hopefully show you some of the ways in which society is lying to you? Because truly, I do not believe society has the best intentions in mind for you, and I've discussed it on many different podcasts. It's trying to intentionally guide you down a certain path, and for the most part, hopefully you're not a person that is a victim of this, but a person who's able to observe it from a broader perspective, and who's able to see the little things and see the results of those actions. So if you look at today's society, right, a lot of people are very anxious, a lot of people are very depressed, a lot of people are very confused, a lot of people are very stupid, in my opinion. And I'm going to give you the reasons for why I think that is, right? And yes, all those things that I said are the truth, but it is for entertainment, or just for entertainment purposes only, right? Of course. Um, yeah, so like I said, society is consciously and unconsciously, directly and indirectly trying to make you powerless, right? So one thing I want to emphasize on today's episode is you, the individual, are very powerful. We're very powerful beings in this life. And there's a lot of media that would suggest that we're only an individual and there's not much we can do, and basically destroying your hopes of being something greater than what you are and than what your circumstance is. But I want you to understand that it only takes a few individuals to influence the rest of society. And depending on who those individuals are, dictates where society goes, right? Um, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. So the masses can influence an individual who doesn't understand the power of the individual. That's the only they Society can only control those who don't understand their true power, right? And That is where we are within today's society, right? The masses are controlling the majority of people because the majority of people do not understand that they have individual power, and more importantly, power that exceeds the authority, right? And we believe that authority is everything. We believe authority is above us. But here's the thing: the individual is and will always be above society because of the simple fact that we outnumber them, right? Like I said, them can be many different things, but like I said, hopefully you're picking up with what I'm putting down, man. So essentially, this right here, right? The masses can influence an individual who doesn't understand the power of the individual, right? That's the only person that they can influence. And like I mentioned, right, the individual, if they know what power they possess, understands that they can influence a mass of people. And that is very, very important. And I'm sure you see within society, there's been a few outliers throughout the entire history of civilization who have stood out, who helped push society forward, and who helped steer society back on track to where it needs to be. And obviously, I still don't believe that there's enough of those people, quite frankly. Those people are still the minority because, like I said, the masses are influencing majority people to and influencing the people to understand that to get them to understand that they don't have power when they do, right? So, with that being said, I want to say this right here. And like I said, observe this for yourself, right? I feel like everything that they teach us is damn near opposite or backwards in some type of way. So, for example, right? Let's just say, what is one of the ways? One way. So like I said, everything. If you observe society, is meant to divide us. So I'll give you one example, right? Let's just say race, and we'll just say race. Race is a good example, right? They try to purport this message that we're against each other, blacks versus whites, or whoever versus whoever, right? Essentially, we can never be the entire human race. We can never be on the same page because there's always these things within society that are the dividers. We'll just call them the dividers, right? So that is one thing that they've lied to us about, is we are all in the same, regardless of the way we look. We are all in the same. We should all love each other. We should all support each other, right? The more and more we talk about our differences, the more and more the bigger the divide is going to be, right? So that's just going to be one of the things that I just came up with off the top of my dome. But like I said, if you guys see any examples of obvious lies that have been told to us, I want you to go ahead and put it in the comments. I'd be more than appreciative of that for sure. But I do believe that it is an intentional and strategic plan that is meant to suppress us, right? They would only want to suppress the individual or the masses, which are built of individuals, if they understood the power of the individual, right? They do it intentionally. Most of these things that happen within society, they're not just the way that they are. They have intent. They have an agenda. Like I said, if you can't see these things, like I said, maybe all I'm saying is bullshit. Do your own research. But through my own personal observations, it's intentional. There's these certain things that have been put within our environment. There's these certain things that you've grown up with. There's these certain things that are programming our children right now that we all know are not good enough, are not proper, right? Are not truly in our best interest, right? So I'll give you one example, right? I'm gonna give you one example, right? One thing we've been lied to, like I said, people wonder why we're unhealthy. We're some of the we are a point in history where we're some of the most unhealthiest, mentally depressed, anxious people that we've ever been, and we don't know why. And here's the thing: one thing we like to do within this society is we like to say, oh well, if you take this medicine, then it'll make it all go away, or it'll make it better, right? So the first example of what we've been lied to is big pharma, right? If you like I said, this isn't even a conspiracy theory. I'm not going to even call it a conspiracy theory. This is the truth, right? Do your own research, and like I said, if you don't believe what I'm saying, do your own research and come back to me. Come back to this episode, right? What you must understand is this, and I'm sure you've heard some of these things that I'm going to say when I start listing these things of examples, right? They are in it for the money, not to cure someone, right? Because if they cured them, then they would lose a patient, thus losing money. And you think the people that are in power and of authority want to lose money? Of course not. Because if they lose money, then they lose power. And if they lose power, then they lose influence. And if they lose influence, then they have nothing. That's just what it is. So one thing, like I said, you just have to understand these things. So with that being said, I want you to, if you let's just say you have some type of health condition, you must understand that it's probably going to come from a mineral deficiency or nutrient deficiency, right, or a vitamin deficiency. That's where most of it comes down to. So if you're experiencing something within your life right now that is less than ideal, I don't want you to seek out medication, because medication's not the best way, right? And the way that I would like to, the way, my one example of this, right? Like I said, if you disagree with what I have to say, you think the people of the past, our ancestors, you think they just had medicine available to them? Or do you think that they had natural remedies that would help them through their ailments? Ask that question for yourself, right? So what you must understand is Earth has been made to cure all the sicknesses that we have. Not Big Pharma, who says, "Oh yeah, take this medication and this medication will help whatever," right? That's bullshit in my opinion, right? That is bullshit through my own research. Like I said, maybe what I'm saying, maybe you don't believe what I'm saying. Maybe you should go ahead and do your research yourself instead of believing everything that you're told. Like I mentioned before, right? There's going to be certain things that we've been told, certain things that we've been programmed with, certain things that we grew up with. There's certain understandings that we grew up with that are bullshit, and it's okay. And here's the thing: it is okay to understand these things, because that's just the way it is. That's just simply the way it is, right? So like I said, there are more natural cures and more natural remedies that have been lost, and that are said to not be good, right? And like I said, the reason why they would go ahead and give us this medication is because now we're a customer, right? If you lose a customer, you lose money. Like I mentioned, I broke that entire thing down, but it is in fact a lie. So if you are a person who's experiencing something less than ideal, in terms of, like, let's just say you're sick, or like you're depressed, or you're anxious, and of course there's going to be some other things. There's going to be some other things that do exist, right? That maybe you need medication for. But what I would heavily suggest for you is to try to understand the human body for what it is, right? Seek out the most natural cures and remedies for your sicknesses, for your less than desirable behaviors. So like I said, being anxious and depressed, right? And another thing that I want to add within this, and I think this is part of the lying, right? Like I said, directly and indirectly. Indirectly, or here's the thing, directly, here's what society should do. If society wanted you to be healthy and a healthy individual, this is what they would do. They would mandate that every single person works out. If they really cared about you, because for the most part, if you're working out, a lot of those sicknesses either don't happen, or yeah, they just they happen way past the time where they happen for you, right? So like I said, if you understand these certain things, they don't suggest for you to be healthy. They don't. They suggest for you to supplement with medication that they give you that they can make money off of. If they said, okay, well, let's just say your blood pressure's high. If you start working out, like I said, this is just an example. I'm not saying this is true. Maybe it is true, maybe it's not, right? Let's just say they say, oh, your blood pressure's high. If you start working out, you can potentially get more healthy, right? But instead, they say, okay, well, your blood pressure's high. Let me give you this medication. Let me give you these pills that are addictive, so you stay a customer, right? They don't have your best interest in mind. Like I said, I've just used this one example, but like Jaden had mentioned, they're simply a band-aid over a wound that needs stitches. They're gonna give you things that keep you just healthy enough to survive, to be just weak enough and sick enough for you to come back, and for them to supplement you again, and for them to take your money once again. And that's just what it is, right? So, like I said, if you're a person that is taking medication right now, depending on what the medication is, like I said, I would do research, because this is worth your time. Maybe make a few lifestyle changes, make some dietary changes, and maybe the problems that you have physically, maybe they'll go away. And maybe you don't need to take pills. Maybe you don't need to, like she had mentioned, right? Pills are addictive and sometimes create adverse side effects. Exactly. That is exactly true as well. Is they'll say, "Oh yeah, this fixes one thing." Look, this is how it works. This is literally how it works. They'll say, "Oh yeah, this fixes what?" Okay, let's just say you come into the doctor for whatever, right? This fixes that. You take it and you've been taking it. Let's just say you get addicted to it, right? Now you have an entire addiction based off of that. And like she had mentioned, maybe it creates an adverse side effect. Oh, well, it looks like I have this. You go to the doctor. Well, you gave me this medication. It looks like I have another problem. Oh, well, it's okay. Let me just give you this other medication. You see this loop. You see this constant loop of not actually properly addressing the way that humans need to be addressed, right? Our past ancestors didn't go based off of these certain things. They didn't have medication readily available to them just go ahead and take. They had natural cures and natural remedies that have been lost, that have been shunned by society. There's many different people who have came and went, who are trying to purport a message that was truly good, that have been literally killed for giving this information because it's exposing too much. Like I said, those are the people that you must seek out. Those are the people who have information that you must know, that you should want to know. And like I said, those are very, very important people who could have changed the trajectory of society if people were to, you know, or society didn't kill them. That's just what it is. So, like I said, that's just one example. I can go on and on about that, but like I said, I want to give you more examples to how we've been lied to, because these things need to be said. And like I said, if you don't believe what I have to say on today's episode, that's completely fine. Do your own research, but at the very least, don't just believe what you're told, because like I had mentioned, society doesn't have your best interest in mind. And if you're getting all your information from society, you might just be being lied to. That's just what it is. The next one is this, right? The next thing that we have been lied to about is the food industry. They suggest food that isn't meant for the human body. That's just what it is. They'll try to give you things that have sugar. They'll try to give you processed foods, and they make it very, very easy and convenient for you to eat these certain things that are truly not good for your body because they're not natural. And the funny thing is, they also say, oh yeah, don't eat these certain foods because these certain foods aren't good for you. It'll be things like red meats. It'll be things like eggs. It'll be things like raw milk and things like that are actually good for you. But they'll give you this perception of, oh yeah, why would I eat these certain things, because it's gonna cause health problems. And then they say, oh yeah, well, it's okay, just go ahead and get McDonald's or something like that, or go ahead and eat some chips, or go ahead and drink some soda. And you see what I'm saying? So when I say society's lying to you, here's the thing: is some people believe the lie. Some people don't even want to be, they don't even want to remove themselves from being lied to. And like I said, it's absolutely pathetic in my opinion, right? So like I had mentioned, right, these the entire food pyramid, like I said, the health organization, right, they give out these absolutely trash advice when it comes to dietary changes, right? And then you look at them, they're not even in the best shape. So why would you even take advice from people who are not in good shape, right? That doesn't even make any sense, right? I think they said something like cereal is better than red meat or something like that. I'm like, bro, are you actually fucking serious right now? And these are the people that are suggesting you, and these are the people that are telling you what to eat and what not to eat. You're really gonna believe them? Some people actually believe them. And like I said, it's just trash. It's just trash. Like I mentioned, do your own research, but you must understand that the human body has been a certain way for such a long time. It has survived up into this point, and now all of a sudden we're having problems. Why are we having problems? Start looking at the things that have clearly made us different than the way we were in the past. That's where I began to look. And one thing I want to say is this: is I was watching this one video earlier, and I'll eventually react to this video when I get my second monitor. But essentially, in this video, they compared processed food to the equivalent of dog food for humans, and I think that's absolutely, sadly, accurate, right? Like, let's just say, for example, let's just say you wanted to make your dog the healthiest it possibly can be. You're probably going to give it meats. You're probably going to give it, um, vitamins and certain things like that, right? You're not going to give it. Well, you shouldn't give it realistically dog food. Dog food is just an easy cop out, whatever. But it's convenient. It's easy. You don't have to spend that much money. But it's also going to literally make your. You see what you hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say, right? Essentially, like I said, in that video, they compared processed foods, which are pushed on us since birth. These things are pushed on us, and if somebody doesn't break the cycle within your family, then your family's going to continue to eat trash food, and they're going to continue to have health problems that they don't understand why they have health problems. Well, I'm doing everything that they said, so why am I having health problems? Because you're doing everything that they said. Because you're falling victim to the things that you shouldn't be falling victim to. You're falling victim to the things that have been easy and convenient for you to do instead of actually doing some research and saying, "Holy shit, they've been lying to us the whole time." Yeah. So yeah, that's just what it comes down to, right? They say things like I said, red meat. They say things like eggs. They say those are the bad things. Those are going to hurt your health. And then here's the thing. What they try to do with that is they try to get you confused. They intentionally try to confuse you. So when somebody says something like I do, you don't know what the fuck to believe anymore. Because what I say is contradicting all the things that you've been told your entire life. And that's just what it is. So, like I said, do your own research. Maybe what I'm saying is bullshit, but at the end of the day, I have done research. I have seen the lies that they've been telling us. And like I said, if they truly had the best interest in mind for you, for your health, wouldn't they say for you to work out? Wouldn't they make it a mandate for every person to work out? That would get rid of majority of health problems that most people have. Off the rip. Off the rip. That one lifestyle change would completely change the biochemistry within people's brains, thus not having as many health issues as we have today. You think these things just came out of nowhere? And we that's what I'm saying. You think these certain health problems just came out of nowhere? No. It all goes back. It all goes back to the lifestyle habits we have, and like I said, dietary changes that we need to go ahead and I can go on and on about this, but hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. They've been fucking lying. They've been lying, so understand that they've been lying, right? Um, like I said, of course they're not gonna have their best interests in mind for us, and right. And here's the thing, back to what I was saying earlier. They lie about these things for their own benefit. They benefit financially. They increase their power and influence, and you believe them for these certain things, right? They constantly want to make you sick. They want to make you weak. They want to make you confused. They want to make you dumb. And they want to make you easily controllable. And they're going to do that in many different ways. And it's your job to recognize the bullshit. Because if not, you will fall victim, just like millions and millions of people, unfortunately, fall victim to these lies. But they're indeed lies, right? So I'm gonna go on about a few more things, and like I said, if you have any examples for certain things, I want you to go ahead and leave it in the comments for sure. Changing your diet and lifestyle is a cure for most people's problems, but don't believe it because the doctor said otherwise. The doctor's probably fat, so how the fuck can you even believe anybody that's not in the best shape? That's what I'm saying. You take advice from people that you want to be like, and it's as simple as that. If you look at the people who are telling you to eat these certain things or be these certain ways or take this certain medication, and you look at them and they're not walking examples of the healthiest people that you've ever seen, then don't take their advice. They might think that they might have been lied to themselves and believing and living out a lie themselves. But you must be able to observe these things for yourself. Be a critical thinker, man. Most people are not critical thinkers. Most people don't even take the time to try to figure out whether they've been lied to or not. They just say, "Oh, well, I'll just believe it." And here's the thing, I'm not even saying for you to believe exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying for you to do your own research. All I'm here to do is make you think. I'm trying to give you thought-provoking conversations. This is the entire reason I have the podcast, right? You've been lied to. If you don't like being lied to, and here's the thing, if you even recognize certain lies maybe that I haven't even mentioned within society, how the fuck can you believe some of the shit that society's telling you? If they've constantly showed you time and time again, they've been lying to you, right? It doesn't take a genius to see that they've been lying to you, man. It really doesn't take it doesn't take a genius, right? Let's just say, for example, right? I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I'm going to say just enough for you guys to understand what I'm trying to say, right? There's this thing that happened a few years ago that everybody believed exactly what society said. Exactly to a T, they believed what society said. And you see the results, you see the results of that, right? Like I said, I don't want to get too deep into that topic because I just don't want to get too deep in that topic, but they lied. They lied and they said, "Oh, well, I'm sorry." And that's it. That could have potentially led to more people getting sick. Let's just say that. Well, let's just say that, right? So once you start to recognize that what they say isn't really in your best interest, and some of it was actually bullshit and some of it was actually lies, how can you believe the next thing that they tell you? How can you believe with 100% certainty that what they're going to tell you next is the truth? You fucking can't. They lose validity. They lose their credibility. And that's the thing that most people don't understand is once you start to see people lying, or society lying, it loses credibility. It has to lose credibility because if a person was in your life who is telling you lies and you later figured out that they're lying to you, they lose credibility. They lose respect. They should lose respect and they should lose credibility. They've earned it. So you must treat society the same exact way. If you recognize that people and society are lying to you, they must lose your respect. They must lose their credibility. That's what it comes down to, right? It's crazy how people can't tell how bad processed foods are for them just paying attention to how it makes them feel. Exactly. They wonder why they're pissed off. They wonder why they feel sick. They wonder why their body's weak. They wonder all these things. They wonder why they have more health sicknesses. They wonder why they're depressed. They wonder why they're anxious. They wonder all these things, but it comes down to your lifestyle changes. Society is purporting a certain message and they want you to believe it and you believed it and then you fell victim to that. And then like I said, it's just as simple as that. Like I said, I'm just trying to tell you what I've researched, right? And like I said, obviously this isn't for entertainment purposes only, of course, but it doesn't take a fucking genius to see these shit. It doesn't take a genius, man. I'm telling you. So, like I want to reiterate this last point before I go ahead and move on, right? They lie to us for their own benefit. They constantly have always done this. Whoever they is up to you, right? Do your own research, right? They want to benefit financially. They want to increase their power and influence. That's just the way it is, right? Going back to the food thing, right? The people who are on the board of health, right? They have financial incentives to these certain companies that are marketing to you that are not of the best foods. Why do we not see more people on TV marketing good food? It's all fast food. And we all know fast food's not good for us. And the same people who know this shit are the same people who constantly get it because it's cheap, it's easy, it's convenient, and it's comfortable, and it's all you know. So therefore, you go ahead and buy that, and then you complain later, why the fuck do I feel this way? It's because you're believing and acting as if you believe what they have to say. Even if you see that it's not good for you, you still act that same way because you don't know any other way. You have to break out of this shit, man. See out the lies, and like I said, if you hear something within society, if you see something coming out, think to yourself for a second. Take a step back and instead of believing it, take a step back and say, what is the opposite? What is the opposite, man? Because that opposite just might be the right answer. And that's just what it is, man. Getting into the next one, man, like I said, this is going to be another one. This is another lie, truly a lie, and a true devastation to society, right? The school system actually being beneficial and worth your kids' time and energy. In my opinion, when I have children, my children are going to be homeschooled and only programmed, because that's what it is. It's a social programming. They're only going to be programmed to what I know to be the truth. This is the way of the past. This is a way of the past until a person created the school system to make workers, right? I'm not going to say who. If you know who, then you know who. If you don't know who, that's completely fine. Do some more research. You'll understand that it all cracks down to a fucking lie. That's what it comes down to, right? So, like I mentioned, right? The school system is a perfect example of this, right? Is it worth your kids' time and energy? You put your kids into school, and then you wonder why they learned certain shit, or you wonder why they've wasted their time learning about shit that doesn't even matter, that has no real world application. See, my thing is this: is when I started learning about these falsehoods that we've been programmed to believe. I was in school myself. I was about 16 or 17, recognizing that half of this shit has no real world application. So I'm thinking to myself, why the hell are we learning about this shit? There was few lessons in school that I learned and I said, holy shit, moving forward, when I go throughout my life, I'm going to use this. That's just what it is. And here's the thing, if you are consuming things that do not serve you, it's like listening to bad music. It's the same exact thing as listening to bad music. Do you want to listen to bad music? The music that you don't like? Me personally, I don't listen to that shit. So when it comes to information that has nothing to do with benefiting my life, I have no interest in trying to hear that out. That's that the school system was ruined for me once I understood that it had no real world application for most of the shit that we learned. And then like I said, and that's truly a lie. Because here's the thing. I talked about this on a previous podcast before. It is a funnel. It is a funnel into the rat race to make you a worker so you can work until you're 60 or until you're 70, then you can retire and enjoy that 10 years, right? Do you want to live a life like that? If not, then you must take steps you must act in accordance to not living that life. So therefore, that is breaking out of the unconscious societal funnel that most go down. That's just what it comes down to, man. Getting into the next one. This is another one. Like I said, this is going to be a little bit less researched on my end, but still I'm still trying my best to go ahead and learn these certain things, and I do at least want to give you as much information as I know, um, without exposing too much. Like I said, do your own research yourself, right? Another thing that we've been lied to, and this is something that like I said, I'm becoming a lot more conscious of as of recently, is history, right? So, okay, a few things I want to say with this, right? History has been written by the winners. That's just what it comes down to, right? History has been written by the winners. So you can already understand that some of the history that is being purported to us has an intent. It has one side. It doesn't have both sides. It doesn't have both sides um of the story. So you can evaluate your own truth. Usually, most of history is like I said, is only by the winners, so you only get the winner's perspective of it, right? And that's not the closest thing to the truth, because that's only one side of the story, right? And another thing I want to say is this, right? There's some unflattering things that have happened within our history. Plenty of unflattering things that have happened. Let's just say in the early 90s. Let's just say the early 90s, right? We'll say early to mid 90s, right? There's a lot of unflattering things that did exist with slavery, with a bunch of different things, right? What you must understand is they don't even want to tell us all the shit that's unflattering, even though we deserve to know about these things that are unflattering, because it is our history. But yet they intentionally try to only teach you a certain thing, because like I said, they have a certain agenda. They want to keep information from you. They want to lie to you. They want to suppress you. Like I said, they want to make you dumb, sick, weak, less knowledgeable. So you're easy to influence. That's their entire intent. So one of the ways they do that is they don't expose all the information of what happened within history. So therefore, most people's paradigms of history, unless they go ahead and seek it out for themselves on their own free time, is probably a misconstrued perception of the way history actually was. Now, you might have a good general idea of some of these things, but you don't know the full truth. And like I said, for me personally, right, there are certain important people within history that were not taught to us in school. And it's because, like I mentioned, school does not have the best interest in mind for you. The people who created school didn't have the best interest in mind for you. So therefore, we're learning outdated material. So therefore, history, like I said, history itself, there's a lot of things that we don't know about. So for example, right, I'm going to give you one small example. And if you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about, right? So there's this guy who was one of the smartest men that ever existed in recorded history. His name was Nikola Tesla, right? If you didn't do any research outside of high school, you probably don't even know who the fuck I'm even talking about. And that's just what it is. He was one of the most profound minds that have ever existed. He had a bunch of inventions and a bunch of ideas that intentionally were suppressed, because those ideas essentially would make people think. The last thing that they want to do is make you think. They don't want critical thinkers in this world. They don't. Here's the thing: they try to silence and suppress people who critically think, who want to think for themselves. Those are the same people they want to silence. Those are the same people they want to control. And like I said, that's just the way it is. Of course, I'm speaking out of my own paradigm. Like I mentioned, do your own research on this shit, and let me know if let me know if what I'm saying is actually true, right? But don't just discard some of the things that I'm saying on today's episode, right? Do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Like I said, I'm not saying, hey, you should believe this certain thing, you shouldn't believe this. All I'm saying is, do your own research, man. That's all I have to say. People need to read the labels and buy as close as natural as possible. Yeah, I agree with that. Right? Like I said, we going back to that, right? We have been we have throughout history been fed certain things that have brought us to this certain point. As of recently in our history, within the last, let's just say, 100 years, there's been a lot more of things that are less natural that we've eaten, and therefore that is going to be the result of a lot of the health problems that we have. So therefore, we must go about that accordingly, right? Go back to the certain things that we used to eat where we had less problems. Simple as that. So I'll get back on the history thing, right? One thing I want to observe as well, and this is going to be something that I've learned as of recently as well, right? some of the things within history, our history, right, have been destroyed, intentionally destroyed. There's been past cultures that they wanted you to not learn about, where there's very very limited information on the internet that you truly have access to because, like I said, they don't want you to see these certain things. So, for example, right. So right now we're living within an empire, right? We're living within an obvious empire that does exist within today, right? That obviously, does certain things, right? Obviously, you understand the Roman Empire that was, in history, that was in the past, right? And then there was one empire that existed before the Roman Empire. That was right where we are, right? This is one of the ones that I've learned that has been suppressed. And like I said, you can do your own research. This is going to be the Tartarian Empire, right? This is just one of many different things that most people don't have any knowledge on, but yet is essential to our history. That is closer to the truth, but yet they want you to go ahead and not remember any of these things. So I'll give you some examples of things that I've learned, right? So the one example I like to use, because this is the one that I remember the most, right? If you look at Chicago in the 1800s, they had very, very advanced architectural structures that we can't even build today. They had free energy sources that we can't even access right now. And that's just, like I said, you do your own research. Maybe what I'm saying is bullshit. Do your own research and then come back to this video. But what you must understand is they try to suppress certain things, because if we start learning about these certain things and we start using our critical thinking, the more and more the people who are in authority, they lose their validity, they lose their power, they lose their influence, they lose their credibility, like I mentioned. Once we start to see that they're lying to us, the less we believe them. And the less we believe them, the less power that they have. The only reason they have as much power as they do is because you, the individual, is believing everything that you're told. You must use some critical thinking. That is what I implore on this podcast. Use critical thinking, do your own research, come to your own conclusions, because if not, you are essentially just believing everything you're told, and the people who are telling you that everything that you're told doesn't exactly always have your best interest in mind for you. You must seek out the real truth. You must seek out closer to the real truth as you possibly can, because if not, you could be told lies. And like I said, I don't know about you, I don't like being lied to by anyone, by anything. I don't like being lied to. I want to know the truth. And if you're a person that also wants to know the truth, do some more research on the things that I mentioned on today's episode if you don't believe what I have to say. I, just as you, have been lied to constantly. And there needs to be people who seek out the truth and who expose the common lies that most people believe. I believe that I am one of these people. I am a seeker of truth and exposer of lies. And as I continue to amass more knowledge, the more and more I will be able to properly illustrate for you guys the lies that I've recognized, the lies that we've all believed, and I will also expose the actual truth of these things. Right? This is my intent with the podcast, and yeah, like I said, if you like what I have to say, leave a like. But yeah, I've said pretty much everything that I wanted to say for today's episode. Like I said, if you guys have any more examples of certain things that you've observed within society that are clear lies that most people believe, leave it in the comments for sure. I've been trying to think of more as I came up with this specific topic. But yes, there is going to be plenty of more lies that we've been told. Right? Okay. I can say. I'm trying to think of some. And one thing I want to say one thing I want to say as well is these certain things. So some of these are directly like in your face. These things are lies, right? And some of these things are indirect. They don't say things, or they indirectly suggest something else, right? And yeah, so like I said, a lot of their lying is indirect lying. They don't directly say, "Hey, this is good for you and this is bad for you." Sometimes they do. And you, like I said, you can pinpoint certain times in which they do. But what you must understand is this: there's going to be certain things that they're going to indirectly lie about. They won't tell you the full truth. They will suggest one thing and it's really another thing, right? You have to do some critical thinking for yourself, and so you're able to go ahead and like I said, expose the truth for yourself, right? Expose the haters, expose the false lies of society. Yes, you already know what time it is, man. Like I had mentioned before, their entire intent is to make us dumber. Their entire intent is to make us less knowledgeable, is to make us less curious, right? Here's the thing: if you're just believing everything you're told, they already have you in their trap. They already have you in their trap. They were already cooking for you. They already cooked your ass pretty much at that point. But like I said, do your own research. They want power. They want power. They want influence. The only way that they don't have as much power and as much influence is if you start taking back the power that you know you have, that you know you should have. The individual has plenty of power, and the only reason that we are losing our power right now is because we're giving it up to the people who are in power, right? Like I had mentioned before, they understand the power of the individual, but most people don't. And the reason why, and like I said, my reason for why they believe that the individual has power is because they intentionally tried to suppress the individual. They tried to destroy you. They tried to make you, like I said, they want you confused. They want you sick. They want you weak. They want you dumb, and they want you easily controllable. I will say these things. These things are not lies. These things are not lies, man. It's easy. It's easy to see these certain things within society, right? So, for example, I'm gonna break it down for you, right? They want you sick. Here's how they want you sick. They want you sick because if you're sick, then they can financially benefit from these certain things, right? Through big pharma, like I had mentioned. They want you sick in a way where you're easily controllable, right? Control not only through your physical body, but they can also control you through your mind. Like I said, if your body is weak, your mind is even weaker. That's just what it comes down to. If your body is strong, your mind is strong, right? We all know this. We all know this, right? So like I said, they want you sick, so therefore they're gonna say, hey, eat these certain foods, don't eat these certain foods. All these certain foods are bad for you, even though they're fucking not. They're literally not. And it doesn't even take a genius to understand this, right? Observe someone who has that diet. How do they look? How do they feel? If it defies what you've been told, use some critical thinking and say, hey, maybe they're fucking lying, right? I've seen this time and time again. So I'll give you one example, right? So like I said, they say red meats are bad, right? I've talked to people who have been on the carnivore diet, right? You can research this yourself, right? I have I have talked to people who have a um closer diet to a whole foods diet, right? These individuals are more healthy than the people who are, consuming the processed foods, right? So, like I said, through the most minimal critical thinking, you'll say, okay, well, they're lying to us. Processed foods are bad. Fast food is bad for you. And the people who are a little bit more diet conscious, who are eating more whole foods, more meats, more fruits, more vegetables, those people are more healthy. It doesn't take a genius. It doesn't take a genius. So, like I said, they want you weak. Another way they want you weak, this is going to be an indirect way. They don't say, hey, go to the gym. That would be directly. They indirectly say nothing. They indirectly don't say anything, right? They want you weak. Because if you're weak, then you're easily controllable, like I mentioned. The way they want you weak is by not suggesting you to go to the gym. If they truly had your best intentions in mind, they'd say, go to the gym because it's going to take care of most of the health problems you have. That's just what it is, right? They want you confused. So here's how they want you confused. They're going to tell you lies. So once you start to hear the truth, you start to question whether the truth is actually the truth or whether the lies are actually the truth instead of, actually having the truth. You see what I'm saying, right? They want you confused. Another way, and like I said, they want you dumb, right? Here's how they want you dumb. They're going to suppress certain things for you to go ahead and learn. And they're also going to say, oh yeah, these things are worth learning about. And they're really not shit, like I mentioned with the school system, right? They're gonna say, oh, these things are gonna help you. And here's the thing, it's funny because if you start questioning teachers and things like that, they're gonna fucking say, well, yeah, I've never used any of this unless it's my job, right? Unless you're a teacher, then you have no utility for this shit in your outside life, right? And of course, like I said, there's gonna be some positive things to school, and things like that. But like I said, I'm not gonna recommend that shit because like I said, I have your best interest in mind because I have my own best interest in mind. And like I said, I'm not gonna recommend that shit. They want you dumb. They're gonna suppress certain things in history. They're gonna suppress certain um they're gonna suppress the things that are worth critically thinking about, right? And that's the way they make you dumb, right? And like I said, with all these things that I had mentioned, you're easily controllable, and that's exactly what they want you to do. They want you to believe lies. They want you to not go to the gym. They want you to eat shit food. They want you to, question the truth, or rather, don't question the truth. And the second that you actually get the truth, you start to question the truth, right? They want you confused and they want you dumb. They're not going to give you as much information as they're going to give you the most minimal amount of information as they possibly can. They're going to suggest for you to consume entertainment and only entertainment instead of actually trying to better yourself. That's just what it comes down to, right? That's pretty much all I have to say for today's episode. Yeah, do your own research, man. You've been lied to. We've all been lied to. Now, here's the thing. It is our responsibility to unlearn the things that we've learned in the past and to relearn the things that we know are more aligned to the life that we want to live. So that is what I'm going to go ahead and implore you to do for the last thing that I'll say on today's episode. We have all learned a certain programming. We've all learned a certain way of life, right? The people who live the lives that you want, they do this certain thing. Hopefully, right? They understand that they've learned a certain thing. They've had a social programming that they really couldn't control, right? But eventually, once you start to have actual critical thinking and thinking for yourself, right? You start to realize that you must unlearn some of the certain things that you had learned, right? Because some of those things are wrong and clearly are wrong, right? So you unlearn the things that have no utility within your life or are lies, right? And then you must relearn. That is those last two parts most people miss. Most people just learn and that's it. They believe exactly what they're told, and anything that defies that is, like I said, it's a painful process to understand that you've been lied to. Of course, all these things, like I said, it's nothing easy. It should make you pissed. It should make you pissed that you've been lied to, right? Like I said, it made me pissed. That's why I wanted to seek it out more. So with that being said, right, learn like everybody else. Now you must do what everybody else doesn't do. You must unlearn the things that do not serve you, that do not serve the life that you want to live, or the ways that you want your kids to live, and you must relearn the ways in which you want to be, that are going to be closer to the ideals that you have for your life as soon as you created some values and morals for yourself. That's what it comes down to, right? That's all I have to say for today's episode. If you guys liked today's episode, make sure to leave a like on the video. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Make sure to go and follow me on Twitch, TikTok, and Rumble, all at Life of a Champ Podcast on every platform. And other than that, this is episode 177 of the Life of a Champ Podcast, exposing the lies. And yes, we've all been lied to, but it is our responsibility to go ahead and learn the things that must be learned and expose the lies. Make sure to go ahead and tap in with the next podcast on Thursday. Like I said, I'm going to be doing more live streams here soon. I'm trying to figure it out, but I'll be doing more live streams this year. If you'd like me talking about this specific topic, or maybe you have a certain topic that's similar to this, leave it in the comments if you want me to go ahead and discuss it, or maybe even make a part 2 to this. I'd be more than appreciative of your feedback. But yeah, we've been lied to, man. This fucking shit sucks. But hey, you can either get mad or you can get better, man. That's what it comes down to. Now I decide to get better. I want to expose the information. I want to give you guys the best information that I would want somebody to teach me if I didn't know. Yeah. So that's all I have to say for today's episode. Like I said, next podcast on Thursday, tap in with that for sure. And I'll leave you guys off with the podcast motto. Fellas out here, man, we don't just work around here, man. We outwork. So make sure y'all work with these motherfuckers because you know that we are, man. Come on now. Y'all have a good night and